afternoon, Mets fans, and welcome to a odd edition of Monday, Driving with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and I'm not driving. Had a little bit of a technical issue this morning with my smart tap device that holds my phone in place. So this is going to be a sitting in a parking lot with Mr. Met. But I couldn't let the day go by because there's lots to talk about, of course, after the last weekend of Mets action. So let's get right to it on today's show. Where do we begin? Where do we begin after the weekend? So the Mets have lost 5 games in a row. 3 of them to the worst team in baseball by any estimation. That would be the Miami Marlins. And it was bad enough that not only did they lose those games, they lost those games with Jacob deGrom and Noah Syndergaard pitching 2 of them, and Steven Matz pitching the 3rd in the middle game. This is the way it goes sometimes, and it sucks, and it's no fun. And you know, after Friday night, I was like, damn, Jake, well, at least we can take 2 out of 3. After Saturday, I agreed with Howie Rose when he said this is rock bottom for the Mets. And that was a rock bottom moment because it was a one-hitter. But after Sunday getting shut out, I don't know. I do not know what words to say right now that haven't already been said on Mets Twitter, which, as expected, is going a little bit crazy about what's going on, and rightfully so. Where do we begin? Where did things go wrong? And everybody's blaming Mickey Callaway, and look, that's the way it goes. And you're the manager of the team. When things are going good, you usually don't get a lot of credit. And when things are going really bad, like they're going really bad right now, you get all the blame. And the reality is that Mickey Callaway is not to blame for what's going on right now. If you have to blame anybody from a personnel standpoint, you've got to blame Brodie Van Wagenen. But you can't say that Brodie Van Wagenen didn't do a good job. Because look, these guys, these players should be performing better, and they're just not. They are just not. And so to blame a front office type, and to lay everything that's happening on their shoulders is just not right. That said, if you're going to blame someone, you got to blame Brodie because he assembled this team. I don't blame Brodie Van Wagenen. I don't blame Mickey Callaway. Do I think Mickey Callaway is a good manager? I don't. I genuinely do not think he's a good manager. Do I think that this team would be playing better under a different manager? I don't know, but I don't think so, because I don't think the manager is the manager's not hitting. The manager's not pitching. I said the same thing when everyone got on Terry Collins, and I don't know. It's easy to blame the manager. It is easy to blame the manager. It's easy to blame the hitting coach. But look, where was everybody calling for Mickey Callaway's head and Chili Davis's head during the first 3 weeks of the season when this offense was just firing on all cylinders? You couldn't be found. No one out there was saying anything about it. Now when things are going bad, well, that's how it goes. The seat gets hot, and the guys that are sitting on it, they get the spotlight shine right on them. And the focus right now is these guys aren't hitting, and it's costing the Mets wins. And they're now 20-25. They are just 1 win better than the team that has been, if not one of the most disappointing teams thus far in baseball, and that's the Nationals. And ironically, the Nationals come into Citi Field for a 3-game series tonight, and Mets got to face Patrick Corbin, so it's a tough task. Corbin dominated the Mets last week in D.C. See if the Mets can do any better. I don't think they're going to. I think Michael Conforto is greatly missed. He wasn't in the lineup, obviously, this weekend. Pete Alonso did everything that he could do, carrying the team as best as he can. But look, you need more than just one player. Wilson Ramos has to start showing up and start hitting the ball like he's supposed to. And then there's Robinson Cano. And that's where I want to end today's show. I want to end today's show with Robbie Cano. First of all, everybody who's saying this is what the Mets do, they sign aging players, they have to stop saying that. A, Robinson Cano is not a free agent. The Mets didn't sign Robinson Cano. The Mets traded with the Seattle Mariners for a package headlined by the best closer in baseball, or one of them, Edwin Diaz, a young, cost-controlled relief pitcher who led the major leagues last year in saves, and who for the most part has been very good this year. Along with Edwin Diaz, the Mets took on the contract of Robinson Cano for the next 5 years. It happens. It's baseball. It's the way it goes. It's how teams acquire young players like this. They do so by exchanging bad contracts, and that's what the Mets did. They moved Anthony Swarzak. They moved Jay Bruce. They took Robinson Cano back as part of that trade. And look, things have not worked out thus far with Robbie Cano with the Mets. Does that mean that they're never going to work out? Things are never going to work out? No, that's not what it means. It means right now Robbie Cano sucks, and it's his poor performance on the early season has been exacerbated by his what looks to be complete disregard for hustle. And Brandon Nimmo is batting 200, and you never see Brandon Nimmo pull the sort of shit that Robbie Cano has pulled, not once but twice over a 2-game span. Saturday, Robbie Cano doesn't run out of the box, and ends up with an inning-ending double play. After the game, does not make himself accessible to reporters. And then yesterday, no punishment, isn't forced to sit, starts again, bats third again, grounds into another double play again. But this one was a little different. This was a ball that he hit behind home plate. It bounced into fair territory. It's a fair ball. The umpire made a very clear, loud, audible call. Fair ball. Double play. Catcher throws to second for 1. Shortstop throws to first for 2. Robbie Cano never comes out of the box. That cannot happen. And this is where I'll get on Mickey Callaway, because as the manager of this team, no one, veteran, rookie, or otherwise, should be allowed to perform the way that Robbie Cano performed. I'm not talking about the results. I'm not talking about an offer. I'm not talking about getting on base. I'm talking about a complete lack of hustle and a complete lack of urgency for a team that right now needs a veteran leader to step up and say, this is how we play the game. Robbie Cano didn't do that. And that's why he gets my GOAT for the weekend, not once but twice. 2 GOATs, Saturday and Sunday, for Mr. Cano. And don't expect the Boo Birds to be quiet tonight at Citi Field. I think Robbie Cano is going to get himself booed pretty hard tonight. The next 3 games are going to be interesting, because while Mickey Callaway remains the manager right now, regardless of whether it's his fault, if the Mets do not right this ship, and I'm talking like middle of this week, if by Wednesday the Mets have dropped 3 more games and find themselves in 4th place in the division, Mickey Callaway is going to be fired, whether he deserves it or not. It's the way it goes. Again, I don't think he deserves it. That's what happens when you're the leader. Things don't go good. You're the first man to get chopped. He's going to get chopped if he doesn't turn things around. So, let's hope he turns things around, because I, for one, like Mickey Callaway. I think that he has the right kind of approach for baseball in 2019. I think he needs to be a little bit harder on his veterans. I do think Robbie Cano needs to be sitting, and I think he should be benched tonight, facing a tough lefty. Why not? Let J.D. Davis play. Let Jeff McNeil play second. Problem solved. J.D. Davis can play left. McNeil can play second. Cano can take a breather and sit on the bench. Doesn't want to hustle? That's where he belongs. I don't care how much money he makes. Let's see how it goes tonight. Mickey Callaway can do a couple of small things to put himself in a better favor with the media and with the fans. Putting Robbie Cano on the bench is one of them. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Hopefully tomorrow I get my new Smart Tap device and I can have my phone connected properly and go back to driving with Mr. Met instead of sitting in the parking lot with Mr. Met. So until tomorrow, let's hope the Mets get off the snide tonight and pull out a W, welcoming the Nationals into Citi Field. Till tomorrow morning when I recap that game, or perhaps tomorrow afternoon again, depending on the delivery of said smart tap device. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at Mr_Met. And as always, let's go Mets.